me ducks. So second video, and I've refilled my cup of Samhain tea. I've added a few drops of chalice well water. I think they recommend 7 drops as a maximum from the chalice well. Whereas the White Springs you can have as much as you want. But as promised, so you will have saw that I took a delivery today from Cheryl over at Oneness Emporium, and she has included the new edition of the Witcher's Wisdom Tarot. I believe this version is either about to go out of print when stocks have gone, or is already out of print. And this is the new version. Now, initially, I think, because I remember looking it up, this was kind of advertised, certainly online, on one of the big, online companies for selling decks and books and things, as a travel or something about a standard size, and this was being referred to as the deluxe size. So myself and a few others made the assumption that the cards might be smaller, because these, whilst the tarot, are more in keeping with an oracle size, I would say. It is still published by Hay House, there's no change there, but as you can see initially there's the size difference in terms of its packaging. The design and everything else is the same. It doesn't say travel size or pocket size or anything like that. It's exactly the same. The Witcher's Wisdom Tarot, a 78 card deck and guidebook. We've still got that sun design, and then the creators here, Phyllis Currott, and the artwork is by the fabulous Danielle Barlow. I love this deck. Chris from Elemental Cartomancy and I did a throwback Thursday on this a couple of months ago, and we talked about our favourite cards, what we loved about the deck. For me, and one reason why I'd never get rid of this copy as well is the book is fantastic. Sometimes you get guidebooks and they're okay, but the way this is written is just wonderful. So I really love, and it's got this linen cover. The packaging is beautiful. As I mentioned before, the only thing really is this tray here is larger than the deck itself. So I'm not quite sure why, because it's not like it needed that size for the book, because the book just sits on top. What I want to do for this video, and this is available from Oneness Emporium, the information is in the description. There'll be a link there to the shop. It's a wonderful resource. It just doesn't do decks. They sell books and all sorts, gifts and teas and candles, and it's a proper emporium. Okay, so looking at the back, it looks like it's exactly the same. It's got different cards, because here you've got 5 cards, whereas here you've got 8. But the words seem to be pretty much the same. 2 witches, an American Wiccan high priestess and an English head witch, spent a year journeying into other realms together. The wisdom they received led them to create a radical new interpretation of the tarot for these times. So far it's the same. Unlike traditional tarots, which guide the seeker to enlightenment by leaving the earth behind, they were shown a tarot for the earth, offering a profound and magical journey into the world, into your life. The only thing that's changed there is not out of it. So, and magical journey into the world, not out of it. Magical journey into the world, into your life. So they've they've changed it about going into your life rather than not going out of the world, because the tarot, as we know, the Fool's journey, you know, goes through the final judgment, then the world, whereas this tarot deck, the Witch's Wisdom tarot deck, reverses the major arcana, and then it has the elements, which, you know, that's fine for me, because that's what my brain does anyway. It automatically thinks, if it's pentacles, I think of you know, the earth suit. If it's swords, I think of the air representation. All right, so difference is, this is a 2-part box, where this was a wrap over magnetic closure box. I do like this beautiful illustration with the fox behind the tree, but here we have magpie, feather, song and air, awaken, inspire and make aware. So there's this beautiful incantation here. Here it says, ask your question, shuffle the cards, open the book and take a look. Spirit hears what's in your heart and answers with love, wisdom and art. I really like that as well. So, you know, what they're giving with, or what they're taking away with one hand, they're giving with another. The book now is very compact, as opposed to this one. This one has 255 pages. This one has 159, so there's 100 pages short, but that's probably because there's less space with a page. So for instance, if we look at, let's go to the Sun, card 3, where's, oh, is it starting with the minors and then goes to, yes it does, it starts with the minors in this. Card 3, the Sun, you'll see here we've got wisdom, and it starts with essence, but essence doesn't start until this page, and then counsel. So that's what you get on 2 pages, and then magic, I'm assuming, is over the page. Yeah, but it's the same book, you know, it's got the same words. Choose a day to rise, and it ends with someone you love and trust. So as far as I can see anyway, it looks like it's the same book. And if we look at the contents page, that will probably help. We don't have this beautiful illustration. I mean, I prefer this book because I like books that are quite a nice size, but you know, I also understand that a lot of people don't like a lot of packaging, particularly if you've got a lot of decks and you've only got a small amount of space on shelves, etc. So yeah, Witch's Wisdom, Tarot, the Witches, the Gift, working with the witches, and then interpretation of the cards. It's exactly the same. Goes through the elements, the minors, and then after the earth, so we go into starting with the world, because it's the opposite way around. What I did like about this book, and I'm assuming this one does the same, is talks about the pilgrim rather than the fool, but it gives you a reference guide here into the order of the cards, so you can see the fool becomes the world in this tarot. Okay, so the fool being the first card, but it's the world is card 1, and then it references what the world would be in the Rider Tarot, Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot 21. The world becomes 1, which was the fool. Does that make sense? So I'm hoping, yeah, it does it. We've got all that here as well. Major Arcana order. So it looks like the same book, it's just chunkier and more compact. And other than that, it looks like the cards are exactly the same. I edged mine in this beautiful blue. I think it, you know, finished it off beautifully. Let's have a look at the backs. Backs are exactly the same. No difference there. Thickness. Yeah, thickness is exactly the same. There is no change whatsoever. So if you liked this deck and you can't get it anymore, you can get it here. Let's just, though, I want to get my, I have to have my majors. Where's my pilgrim? Card 0, she's there, she's at the end. I mean, there's no point really doing it side by side because they are identical decks. It just means now I have a backup copy, which is never a bad thing. But let's bring the camera down and have a look at, we'll just quickly go through in case it's the first time that you are seeing this deck. I'm sure it's not, because a lot of people have showed this tarot deck. Okay, let's just have a sup of tea. Oh, it's so good. You can buy their teas online, by the way, if you go to Sons of Asgard, ASGARD. And you can order, they've got an online shop, which I will be using because it's going to be, like I said, probably a couple of years before I get to go back to Glastonbury. But yeah, I mean, this Danielle Barlow is a phenomenal artist anyway. I had the Wheel of the Year, I think it's called, Oracle deck, before I even bought this deck, because I just love her work. Gorgeous. So here you see we're starting with the world, and it's you know, how our perceptions and how the world is, the way the world's going, really. We see it, and we've seen it in this country over the last few weeks with all the floods, but the destruction, the wars and everything else, and actually retreating into nature, which is gorgeous. And I'm not going to do, you know, talk about every card, because I've got a walkthrough of this orb, and it's very popular. It's one of the most popular ones I've had in terms of views and things. And then we also did a throwback Thursday on this deck. This is more about the comparisons. There is a slight colour difference here. I'm trying not to get, let me bring this ring light round. I'm trying not to get shadows on it. But can you see, I mean, it's only slight, but there is a colour difference. This original deck, I had to check the edges then to make sure I'd got the original one here, is a little bit more saturated in colour. You can see with the bright yellow sun behind here compared to here, the skin tone isn't as rich here. This one does feel a little bit more natural, to be honest. So, but it's slight, you know, it's not noticeably different. And sometimes that's just about where it was in the print run as well, I think, sometimes. Because I've seen people, you know, the same edition of a deck having slight differences. And don't even get me started on Druidcraft with all the various versions that are out there. And I understand now US Games are going to be distributing it. So I'd be interested to see whether there's going to be any changes there, because I've got 3 copies and they're all different when it comes to coloration. I love the Ancestor card. I mean, this deck is wonderful. If I'm honest, I do struggle a little bit with the reordering. I have to get my head around it and think 8 healing, what would that be, you know? It doesn't necessarily come that easy, but you do get used to it. And I've also heard people saying, look at that for rebirth. I've heard people saying that they've used this as an oracle deck, and that's fine, you know. At the end of the day, the tarot is an oracle. You know, what is an oracle? So all forms of divination can be classed as oracles. So I don't have an issue with that. Use the deck however you want to use it. It is a tarot, but it's what they called like a modern interpretation of the traditional tarot. Fitting more with nature based spirituality, I think is the best way to perhaps describe that. So yeah, there's absolutely, as you can see, no difference in size or anything. These are the 2 cards together, which I was surprised about, because And it's not anywhere on the packaging, as I said, but there is, I think when it was advertised as a travel edition. So I think when you hear travel edition and things like that, you imagine that's referring to the cards. So I thought that this was going to be released as, you know, perhaps a tarot size, or even smaller. I mean, everybody seems to be doing that, don't they? Creating, especially Hay House at the moment, creating travel editions of popular decks. The Guardian card is one of my favourites. I think it's just incredible, incredible. Reminds me of Glastonbury. You see lots of statues of gods that have antlers or horns, and especially when you see that landscape behind, it's beautiful. And again, the Great Mother card, if we're thinking of our Empress and Emperor there, beautiful. Look at that bear and the hair. Such a gorgeous deck. A Priestess card. The Council of Beings. And yeah, so the I'm not going to go through the minors because well, I'll just show them from this deck, because you know there is you can see there's no different, and then I haven't got them in the same order that these are coming. But I really do like, you've heard me say many times, I'm not a fan of renaming you know, when you have things like quills or coils, or and I know it's there to fit a particular theme. However, what I don't seem to have a problem is when the minors are, as I said, representing the elements, because that's the purpose of them anyway. This would be swords, which is our air suit, and these, the minors, with the exception of the courts, and we have messenger, witch, craftsman and goddess, the Spider Woman, don't have humans in them. They are animal and nature based. And look at that. I want more decks by Danielle Barlow, please. I love this 8 of fire. So this is what would be the one suit, of course, fire. But yeah, cardstock is lovely. It's matte, it's borderless, they are large. It's quite thick cardstock, but not too thick. Yeah, and then our cups, which is the water suit here. We've got otters and things that live in the water, like our birds, our polar bears, because of the ice. Love these little turtles. Goddess of water, look at that. And then our final suit is the earth suit, which of course would be pentacles. Oh, look. It's very much the British Isles, isn't it? I love these standing stones. I love standing stones. I love going to sacred sites. Look at this. A little pool in the rock. Just gorgeous look. Like I say, this has got hundreds of walkthroughs, but I just wanted to come on, and this is my favourite court card in the whole of this deck. I absolutely love the Goddess of Earth. Look at this milk. Beautiful. Look at you've got this grassy, luscious green hillside mountaintop, and over here we've got the desert and the pyramid. She's the goddess of it all, of all the earth. I love as well that there's this split. You can see the night sky, the constellations here and here. Ah, she just straddles both. Beautiful. So if nothing else, you know, I've got a backup deck. This one feels a little bit softer because it's had a lot of use over the last 3 years or so. I think it's 3 years. But yeah, so that's the difference. If you're looking at the cards, there is no difference, but there's obviously difference with the books in terms of how it's laid out. And its size, and also with the outer packaging now in a more compact 2-part box. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.